Have you ever logged out of an online class where the lecture was perfectly clear, but nobody actually spoke to each other? You absorbed the information, but the room itself felt completely motionless. We often assume education operates on a strict vertical axis. A teacher stands at the top, broadcasting facts down to a quiet, receptive audience. But watch what happens to this diagram when education shifts on its side. True comprehension requires a horizontal axis. Information has to travel laterally, directly between the students themselves. Without peer interaction, an online environment functions as a one-way broadcast system, missing the social friction required to truly test and refine new ideas. Moving away from solitary study and toward joint problem-solving is the core engine of collaborative learning. Looking at the connections here, students actively share ideas, solve problems, and support mutual understanding. Notice this specific node expanding. Vocalizing a complex idea to a peer forces the speaker's brain to organize information efficiently, making their comprehension much denser. This model acts as a cognitive gear, locking information into long-term memory through the physical requirement of cooperation. Without those lateral connections, the psychological baseline for a remote student is pure isolation. They sit alone, staring forward, physically walled off from their peers. Breaking that wall with direct interaction changes the student's perspective. Once they are required to articulate thoughts to a peer, the pressure of the large, silent digital room vanishes, allowing a sense of individual contribution to take hold. This interaction replaces passive observation with active participation, naturally pulling students out of the background and into the flow of the lesson. The most reliable mechanism to trigger this shift is the small group discussion. By dividing a massive digital room into these distinct clusters, you can deploy targeted prompts. You ask them to discuss a real-life example, compare their initial reactions, and negotiate a consensus. Giving a group even 5 minutes to navigate those prompts focuses student attention, yielding measurable spikes in participation for the remainder of the session. Segmenting the audience into microgroups completely shatters the isolating quiet of the virtual space. You can accelerate that momentum by replacing solitary assignments with shared tasks. A team co-creates a presentation, solves a case scenario, or analyzes a complex situation by feeding individual insights into a single project. As that diverse range of perspectives collides in the center, the overall analytical understanding becomes highly structured and resilient. The third operational gear to force this kind of engagement is peer feedback. When you task a student to review a classmate's work, suggest corrections, and offer alternative solutions, they build distinct intellectual confidence. They are forced to step out of the role of a passive listener and execute the duties of an active contributor. Through shared tasks and structured reviews, a quiet audience physically transitions into a functioning, tightly knit network. Building this network does not require expensive software or complicated digital infrastructure. Look at this wireframe. The barrier to entry is remarkably low. A basic chat box, a shared text document, and short breakout rooms. These are all you need to start. Even these brief micro-interactions generate strong pedagogical ties between classmates. Collaboration is a core structural redesign of learning online. By designing courses around lateral connection, you generate deeper thought, higher confidence, and clearer memory retention. Learning reaches its full potential when it moves beyond individual absorption and into the realm of shared discovery. When we work together, we remember more.